Welcome to Unscripted Coding. Today we're going to talk about upscaling images. And what that means is, let's say you took a picture and it's a really old camera, you have a 100 by 100 pixel image at the end of it, and you want to blow it up to 200 by 200 or even larger, 400, 1000 by 1000, whatever. Basically blow it up. But because your original image is so small, when you blow it up, you're going to see all of the pixels, you're going to see all of the imperfections, the grain, and it's just stretching the image out. Now if you think back 10, 15 years ago, it was, well, you had very limited options. You obviously could blow it up, and then if you had something like Photoshop, they had very basic algorithms which detected lines and tried to smooth those lines out. It saw that singular colors and tried to smooth all of those out. Today we are in AI model age. There's a lot more ability to get more out of those images. Now, it is important for us to understand that, when you have that 100 by 100 pixel image, there's only so much information in there. And as you blow it up, you you don't have the information to fill the gap. Now, how AI works is it also uses algorithms, but it's a lot smarter. It's going to fill in details into that gap. And so, for example, this image right here, this model is actually inserting things. It's pretending there are things that aren't there. And most recognizably is if you see text in those images that you blow up. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be text, but it looks all garbled. Now, it's sharpened. It tries to fill it as best it can, but it's going to garble whatever text is supposed to be in there and maybe throw in letters and characters that aren't there. That is a problem, but for many things in life, it's not so important. So for people's faces, for portraits, for shirts and textures, you can make it up as you go, and it'll look okay. And so this is where AI upscalers are coming across very, very usefully. Now, today I just have an older picture of myself. I guess, hey, I look pretty good there. And we are going to try and upscale it. And why I have this video is because I actually tried a couple different options here. I went with a number of these online editors here, and this one is just very similar results to everything else. If you take a look at the left, this is the original, and the right, which is the upscaled version, it should preserve more of the details as you scroll in. And you can see that this one is just a little bit sharper. And as you scroll in, some of these edges look sharper and look fixed. It looks okay, and I feel like some of this doesn't really capture the face. But a lot of these are using these same models, basically Stable Diffusion. The one I'm leaving out is if you are purely using Stable Diffusion or Leonardo or other of these text-to-art generators, the other option you have is to upscale and really really add details to it. So for example, in some of these images, you could just see a lot of additional stuff added. So that's not a tattoo, but let's say there's a tattoo, you're going to add more fanciful elements to it. You're going to add a lot of things to it. That is a different video entirely. All I'm trying to do is make some of these look good as we upscale. Now, this is very representative of the 7 or 8 different online options I tried looking at. It makes it look a little bit sharper, but some of it is a bit odd. So what I eventually found and found worthwhile was a software called Gigapixel, Topaz Gigapixel. It is quite pricey, but the results are quite different. It is a proprietary model so that they can sell it. And so I wanted to show you guys very quickly how to use this. All of it is running locally on your computer, and you can see that it is doing a quick parse through. It has a couple different models. Now, you see this yellow toggle. It automatically picks the right model and settings it thinks is best for you. And in this case, there's a couple different options. You have like low res, which is just, or very compressed, which are these terribly looking photographs from, maybe 20 years ago. Just absolutely horrible looking. And then you're going to have, lines, art, and CG. All I care about right now are realistic photos because that's my current project. And you have a couple options here. You're going to see, if we zoom in a bit further, that I feel like it does a bit of a better job than the other one. It definitely smooths some of my faces elements out, but if we zoom in here, it doesn't feel like it did a whole lot other than sharpen some of the edges here around my eyes. But if we look at this one, you could still see some manipulation going, but I feel like it's a lot more naturalistic. Now, I've gone through a bunch of these photos, but what I wanted to show you is that the one thing that really makes Gigapixel AI really nice is this face recovery. So if I turn it off, and see how I look, that's probably not the best option here. But what I found interesting is there are elements of my face, let's say the teeth, that because it's filling the gaps in as best it can, sometimes it doesn't look at the face as a whole. And you're going to see, say, one tooth bigger than the other, or misalignment, or so on, just because it's so blurry. Now, this photo is decent enough. But if you put the face recovery, it does another pass through it and recognizes your face overall and reframes the teeth and eyes and so on and looks at it as a whole to make it make more sense. Anyways, all I wanted to say is I played around with the software and I was just very, very impressed overall. In comparison to a lot of the online options. And really what it came down to is this face recovery piece, which, doesn't matter if you're doing artwork or landscape photos or things like that, but it's really important for portraits because I see it over and over and over in Stable Diffusion where just little bits like the curvature in your ears, the teeth, sometimes the eyes, they just, while trying to recreate it, miss something that doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, Gigapixel isn't perfect, but the face recovery just makes a huge difference in the batch of photos that I did. And I even tested without face recovery and with face recovery to see how it runs. And just going around, you can see, it does a lot of the things. If you have clothing or architecture, sharpening the lines and removing smoothing out some of the texture is really helpful as well. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to keep this a fairly short video just to introduce you guys to some non-stable diffusion based AI models, and I think Gigapixel has been around for a very long time, so it's not hopping in this new era of AI. I'm sure it's learning loads from it, but it's not just a repackaged Stable Diffusion. Anyways, I hope you had a interesting time looking at this. I think this comes up a lot more than you might think of remastering really old photos. Now, I picked a random photo here, but it does remarkably well for those old scanned photographs as well, from your grandparents that, is black and white, might have a beige kind of coating on top of it. It does really, really well. All right, so I'm going to end the video here, and I hope to see you again very soon next week for our next project. Thanks.